Welcome to another episode on the Larapo. I think this is episode 6 of 2026, and this episode is hastily put together. The topic is if the police owe a duty of care to any random individual or to the public at large to prevent them from being harmed by criminals. I just had a very lively conversation with 3 Jamaican police officers serving in the Turks and Caicos Islands police force who believe, by virtue of wearing the uniform, that automatically make them an authority on the law, or that if 6 months in the police training academy automatically make them a legal expert. I'll be back to discuss the topic shortly, but before I do, this is not legal advice, should not be construed as such. For legal advice, please contact an attorney of your choice. Welcome back. Under English law, the police do not generally owe a duty of care to random individuals or the public at large to prevent them from being harmed by criminals. Although 3 lively and ill-informed Jamaican police officers serving in the Turks and Caicos Islands disagree with this proposition. Now, at common law, the police do not generally owe a duty of care under the common law to protect individuals from harm, either harm caused by themselves or others. Where the police do not act, it is unlikely that they will be held to have breached a duty of care. The police may owe a duty of care to protect persons from harm where they have either assumed responsibility to care for that person or those persons, or they created directly or indirectly the risk or the harm faced by the person. The 3 Jamaican police officers believe that the fact that their mantra is to protect and serve automatically means that they owe the public at large in every circumstance a duty of care. This principle of the police not owing the public at large a duty of care is grounded and well established in legal precedents and even public policy. And this principle has been defined across several landmark cases, although the sergeant who was involved in the discussion said that I was wrong on the law. The general rule is that the police are not liable in negligence for pure omission, example, failing to respond to a 911 call or failing to apprehend an unknown criminal. In the case of Hill and Chief Constable of West Yorkshire, the House of Lords established that police do not owe a duty of care to individual members of the public to identify and apprehend an unknown criminal, as this would be an unimaginable burden that is not fair, just, and reasonable. But they can't tell that to the 3 Jamaican officers who believe that when they are asked to show their warrant cards, that they believe a Jamaican ID would suffice. Further, in the case of Michael versus Chief Constable of South Wales, the Supreme Court reaffirmed this rule in a domestic violence context, ruling that even if the police handle a 911 call negligently, they do not automatically assume a duty of care for third-party criminal acts unless there is a specific representation and reliance. So, when does a duty of care exist? Well, while there is no random duty of care, police can be held liable in negligence or under the Human Rights Act of 1998. We do not have a similar act or similar legislation here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. But there are a few specific situations where this may be applicable. For example, if the police take positive action and directly cause foreseeable injury to an individual, they can be sued in negligence. For example, if they were careless in executing a dangerous arrest on the public street, or if they assumed responsibility, which is if an officer explicitly promised to protect a specific individual and that person rely on the assurance to their detriment. Example, the police then, having given that assurance, refrain from protecting that person who relied on the promise. Now, in the discussion with the three police officers posing as legal scholars, a scenario was put. If an individual is being attacked or held hostage by an individual with an unlicensed firearm, if the police owe a duty of care. Of course, that's a total different scenario. And the police has a duty to act if a crime is being committed in their presence. And the person with the unlicensed firearm perpetrating an attack on another person would not be considered as just random. And the police then had to have a fidelity, a loyalty, to be faithful to the law and to intervene. That is totally different. But the three legal scholars who spent 6 months at a police academy and who believe the mere fact that they are wearing a police uniform make them an authority on the law. So this has just been a very short episode just to highlight and to reaffirm that the police officer or any police officer is not considered to be all-knowing and superhuman. And it doesn't mean that the mere fact that you're a police officer, that you owe every person out there a duty of care. That is not what the law expects. That is not what the law dictates. And they should not make their ego believe that they know things that they do not know. Now, the three ill-informed Jamaican police officers who are members of the Royal Turks and Caicos Police Force. This agreement wasn't really with me. It was with the law. It was with legal jurisprudence. And it was with the House of Lords and the Supreme Court. They were actually disagreeing with the state of the law as if they could rewrite it. So this has been a very short episode. If you learn anything, please like, share, comment, And I see you very shortly in the next episode. Cheers.